think we're live now, aren't we?
I'm just waiting to see. Yes, we are. We are live now. Great. Okay. So let me just try and find you. All right, guys. So we're live. We're streaming into the Facebook group. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Liz. You've just joined us. Thank you, ladies, who've joined me on the Zoom. And if you're watching this on the Facebook group, please give us a wave. And if you want to ask any questions, go ahead. Those of you that are on the Zoom, you can ask questions in the chat box below, and they're all very welcome, those of you that are interested in doing the program. So for the purpose of this evening, I've got some lovely ladies who've done the program in the past who are open to having a chat with you all about their experience of the Freedom Program. We've got Liz, we've got Habir, we've got Jill, we've got Adrienne, and we've got Lou, who are all willing to share their experience. So the first person I'm going to bring on is lovely Louise. Welcome, Louise.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Well, it's lovely to have you here, Louise. And I wonder if you could tell the ladies who are listening or watching what life was like before for you, before you came across me, before you came across the Freedom Program.
Okay. Well, I've always been a bit of an anxious person and a bit of an overthinker. I've previously had a lot of counselling in the past about grief and other things, but I still continually had this issue of overthinking, shitty thinking as I call it. And it was just something I couldn't get over or around or past. I came across your circle group, which I joined first of all. And I was in that group for a while, which I loved. I loved the coaching calls. I loved the ladies. I loved the support. And I did feel really supported. And then when I saw your program, I thought, well, why not? So I joined that. And I just got so much from it. I found it so beneficial. I loved the ladies in the group as well. It was a small group. And I loved the level of support we got and the modules. I used to look forward to the weekly modules. You know, I learned so much from them. And I've obviously still got them on a laptop, so I can go back and reread that at any time, which was really helpful for me. And it made me sort of put it all in perspective about me thinking and about, you know, not taking it so seriously. And it did change things for me.
What did it change?
It made me not take myself so bloody seriously all the time. And made us think that, you know, I'm not alone. A lot of people, I think, get stuck in their thinking too, and get caught up in that and make it mean something about them when really it doesn't. And then we identify with all of that, don't we? I think that's quite so I felt really good knowing that I wasn't the only one who was in that situation having those thoughts, and identifying with them. So as a result of that, I feel happier in my own skin. I don't feel as anxious. I don't take me thinking so seriously and think it means something about me. And it's made us feel freer as a person.
Oh, and what's the impact that that's had on your life, having that freedom?
It's made us think about things I want to achieve in the future, things that I never would have thought about ever doing or being capable of doing, or ever thought about a situation that I could ever change, you know, because I felt trapped in many different areas of my life. And it's helped unstick us, if you like. And I just think, well, I'll just try something new, you know, where before I would have gone, oh my God, I can't ever do that. You know, so yeah, I've tried lots of new things, which I never thought I would have. And I'm not as anxious. I don't take myself as seriously. I mean, don't get us wrong, I have good and bad days like everyone does, I guess, don't I? Yeah. But I know it'll pass, and I don't place any meaning on it anymore.
So has it had any impact for you with your family, your relationships, anything like that?
Yeah. It's made us, I mean, I'm a full-time carer for my daughter, who has a disability. And I used to have a lot of heavy thinking around that and around her disability in the future. And it's made us live more in the present with her, which has been really lovely for her and for all of us, really, because I'm not trying to think of the next step all the time. I just think, you know, everything will be fine. And I think because I trust my own thinking about that everything will be fine, that it will be fine. And it just makes you sort of, you know, live in the present. I'm not as anxious, so I do more things than I used to do as a family, you know, we'll go out more and stuff like that.
So did you have any kind of hesitant thinking before you joined up to the program?
Oh, what about doing the program? Oh yeah, I had loads. I thought, oh, to be honest, I was like, more bloody money, you know, like that's what my concern was. Because I have previously, before I met you, spent money on, you know, counselling and stuff like that. I thought, oh, you know, but I'm so pleased I did. I'm so pleased that I just thought, you know, I'm going to give this a try. And I just enjoyed the whole experience as a whole, you know, not only the program and what I learned from it, but being part of the group, you know, because I'm not a very sociable person. I don't go out a lot. So being part of a group of women who all experience similar things to you and to feel supported by that is pretty wonderful.
I agree. And you were an exceptional member of our little
Thank you.
Group, and really pleased that you've shared that experience. Thank you, Lou.
Thank you.
Does anyone who's here who hasn't done the program, does anyone want to ask Lou any questions? No, that's okay. So those of you that came on later whilst Lou was talking, you can type in the chat box if you did have any questions, if you did want to ask anything. So who would like to go next? Let's bring on Habia. In fact, I'm not going to give anyone a choice. I'm just going to pick a name.
Can you hear me?
I can, lovely. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. I don't really have a lot to add, actually, after Lulu's kind of said a lot of
but that's great. Tell me then, what was life like before for you? Because I know that you joined in the lockdown. So what was life like before?
I mean, to be honest, actually, before lockdown, I had a kind of very regimented sort of structure. You know, I had my sort of 9-to-5 job, and I think it was just having that routine all taken away. It just kind of left me very panicky, anxious. I was having panic attacks, wasn't sleeping. I didn't sleep for a good few months, really, just really. And then I'd obviously overthink, you know, why am I not sleeping? So it would be endless thoughts that would just be going through my head. And obviously that had a knock-on effect with my work as well. And I think I was just lucky that I joined the Circle group almost at the start of like lockdown back in March. And then obviously I found out about the Freedom program through that. And obviously hearing the interviews, just like this one, from the ladies who were in the first cycle, that kind of helped a lot. Listening to, I think, Sheridan and Anne-Marie, you know, listening to what their stories were. And then again, you know, they were having problems with overthinking as well. And I thought, well, that's me, you know, that's me. And it just kind of spoke to me. I mean, we use the word resonate a lot, but it really did resonate. And then the Freedom program, it's funny because when I first started the Freedom program, I was really frustrated because I kept looking for a quick fix. I thought, well, why is everybody else getting this and why am I not getting this, you know? And I kept thinking, oh no, there's something wrong with me, you know? And you kept saying to me, there's nothing wrong with you, you know, because you're looking for a quick fix, but there's no way to quickly get peace of mind. And you kept saying, you know, the answer is within you, the wisdom is within you. And eventually it just sort of started clicking into place. But I think I sometimes had to listen to some of the units over and over again for the words to sort of seep in. It was sometimes as I would be listening to things and it just wouldn't go in, or maybe I wasn't open or receptive to listening. It took a while for me to be open and receptive to listening to what was being said. And then it was maybe the second or the third time that I'd listen to things and I'd go, yeah, that makes sense. So it did take a while. But it did eventually start going in. And then I started thinking about it. Well, not thinking like overthinking, but started thinking about how that makes sense and how that applies to me. And then obviously coupling that with Bill Petty's sort of, I mean, I think that was a really good introduction actually. And then listening to the Sid Banks Hawaii lectures and just the way he puts things and his turn of phrase, just all made a lot of sense. So yeah, it wasn't just one thing. I think it was all lots and lots of different things on the Freedom Program. But for me, I think the best thing were the group chats. I mean, if anyone's thinking of doing this program, really commit to doing the group chats, because there's so much wisdom in what other people say. Sometimes you don't actually even know that you have an issue, but it's when you hear other people speaking that you think, oh yeah, well that's me as well, you know, I do that too. You know, and you don't even think of it as a problem until you've heard somebody else, and then you hear your answer or your response to that, and then you think, oh well, that's something I should do as well. You know, so there's so many things to be taken, so much wisdom just from the women in the group. And those discussions were really good, really, really good.
So you mentioned there about wanting a quick fix, and I was wondering, like, before you came across my work and joining, you know, the Freedom Program, how many type of quick fixes had you tried prior to coming to me?
Hot baths, you know, essential oils. I'd had, like, you know, I've got an oil burner here, trying meditation, all sorts of things really, but those are the kind of three that kind of stick in my mind. But the problem was that I wasn't calm, you know. I mean, I needed to find that calmness inside myself for the meditation to work, for the hot bath to work. I needed to be calm. There's no point in me just sitting anxiously in a hot bath hoping that that's somehow going to relax me. If, you know, I needed to relax my mind so that I could relax my body, if you know what I mean. So it was, yeah, I mean, you remember when I was talking at the beginning, I was talking like at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I had so many thoughts. And then you kept saying, take a breath, you know, because it's, can you hear how fast you're going? Because the thoughts were just whizzing through. And it was exhausting. I mean, literally it was exhausting. I couldn't sleep at night, but then I'd have to have a nap during the day because I was tired all the time. And then I'd be crashing. I mean, I'd be crashing for an hour or two, and I'd have such little energy, constantly just lethargic. It wasn't living. I mean, I feel like I'm living now.
Yeah, so tell us, and Louise, I know you've asked a question in the chat, and I'll get Habir or any one of the ladies if you want to respond to her in the chat, if you want to tell Louise the difference. But before I come to that question, Habir, what's life like for you now?
So much easier. I mean, I sleep. I mean, sleeping is it's hard to put a value on a good night's sleep, but I feel like I was going mad because I wasn't sleeping. And I still get, you know, negative thoughts coming in, but I kind of recognize those negative thoughts now. And I try not to go down the path of just allowing that overthinking to overwhelm me. And obviously if it gets to the overwhelm stage, then it gets to the sort of panic attack stage and I can't get out of that cycle. But I recognize that for what it is now. Because I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously one of the, I kind of mentioned on the group as well that I was having issues with my job, and I've got a big review coming up. And, you know, I don't know if I've done enough to save my job or not. And before, back in March, that would have set me off in a spiral. But now I'm actually quite calm. I'm thinking, well, if it doesn't go my way, it doesn't go my way, you know. It's not the end of everything, you know. My career is not over. I've still got qualifications. I could find another job, you know. It's not the end of the world. My family are behind me, so I'm not. I don't feel like this pressure that I'm letting everyone down. Like everyone's sort of rallying around me and saying, "No, it's okay. You know, you've got this. You know, you just work. You know, just do what you can. You know, you can't do more than you can. You know, you can't. There's no point in me worrying about something that might happen or might not happen. If it happens, I'll deal with it."
So that's key, isn't it? It sounds to me like that's what's different. You're no longer worrying about the things that might happen, and a lot of the time you were in your headspace worrying about the future, constantly worrying like that.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Has your family noticed a difference?
Yeah, actually there was I should have said to you that the other thing as well, there's been a real positive change in my relationship with my mother, because my mum is obviously she has very poor health, so she's housebound pretty much all the time, and she was quite she can be quite nippy, you know. She can be, you know, if things aren't done a certain way, she can be quite nippy. But I realized a lot of that is just that she just needs me to sit with her and spend time with her. And that's really changed actually, because I always make time for her now. I always sit with her, and she doesn't even her behavior has changed, you know. She's not nippy. She's actually, because I'm actively spending time with her, rather than before I would try and avoid it, because I'd try and avoid these negative sort of confrontations. She'd say something hurtful and then I might say something back, and now we don't have that. We have we have a really loving relationship now, which is quite odd, but we do. And it's a big difference. It's a huge difference.
Where would you say that you have found freedom?
Just, I mean, I can't say where, but I feel free in that I'm not a slave to my thoughts anymore. You know, I'd be thinking about the same thing, and it would suffocate me, you know. It was just, I wouldn't be able to breathe. I'd be constantly worrying about something. If someone asked me anything, I'd be constantly worrying, you know. Whereas now I don't feel that, you know. I just kind of feel, I feel like a person. I don't feel like I feel more complete as a person, as I should say, rather than feeling like there's a piece missing, you know.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that you feel complete. That's wonderful. Thank you, Habir.
That's okay. Thank you.
Louise, I promise I'll come back to that question, but ladies, if you want to answer her in the chat box, please do. So Jill, I'm bringing you on next. Jill, if you'd like to unmute.
Hi.
Hello, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Good, it's lovely to have you here. So can you tell the women watching and listening what life was like for you before you came across my work and the Freedom Programme?
You know, if you'd asked me a year ago how I was, I would have said I was fine. I truly believe that. I didn't realise until I started to do this programme, and I'll come on to why I did it in a minute, but I thought I was fine. But I wasn't. I was so heavy, so tied down. It was like having chains. But I had been like that for so long that I thought that was my life. I thought that was my normality. And all of that came from all of the pain which had rolled onto me and into me over the years. And I just accepted that. I believed that's who I was. And then along came the pandemic, and it just happened to come at the same time as my daughter was giving birth to my grandson. One of the big bits of pain that had rolled onto me in the past was that my son had a serious medical problem, which resulted in life-changing injuries. And I thought I was okay with it. But when we got to the beginning of lockdown, my daughter had a new baby. My son, who still has disabilities, was living alone. I wasn't able to go and support them, and I fell to pieces. I really did. The worry, the anxiety, all the things that had been there inside me all that time, and I didn't really appreciate that they were there, all bubbled up to the surface and came out. And I was lucky. I wasn't in the circle group, but I had joined the sort of introductory free Facebook group that Charli runs. And periodically, Charli will send the members of that group just a little text saying, "How are you?" Which she did. And I was like, because I was just in this complete meltdown. And I did some work with Charli individually, and that led me on to doing the Freedom Program. Oh dear, it's the best thing. Honestly, if you've got any doubt, throw it away. This is the best thing that you can possibly do for yourself. I promise you, I am a different person. I am transformed. I feel light. I feel free. I don't worry about my children or anybody else's health. I used to stuff myself with every piece of food that I could find continually. I was overeating. I would eat whole packets of biscuits, whole tubs of ice cream. And I have done that for years. I can remember when I was working, driving to the nearest supermarket because I'd had a bad day, buying a big tub of ice cream, a big packet of biscuits, and a box of chocolates, and sitting and eating the whole lot until I started to feel physically sick. And I was never bulimic. I never made myself feel sick, but my God, I made myself feel sick. And I had been doing that for the whole of my adult life. That was my normality. And I've been on every diet ever invented. You name it, I've done it. And I've done that since I was about 18. Diet, lose weight, get to a point where it's not sustainable. Start to overeat, build, end up bigger. And I've done that. I've done that with my weight all the way through my life. All because of that burden that I was carrying inside myself, which I sort of knew I had. I knew all the things that had happened to me in the past had affected me, but I didn't realize how much. I didn't make the connection between the two things. And that's what this program really does. It will unpick bits of you that you don't realize you have any kind of problem with, or that are connected. It's like Habir said when she was talking a few minutes ago, that you don't know that you've got these problems until you start working on yourself in this way, and then it all comes out. And this is, I mean, I don't know about you. You might be here because of anxiety. You might be here because you have a habit, like my habit of overeating, or you might drink, or you might smoke. You might harm yourself. Whatever it is, this program works. It doesn't matter what it is. You don't need a different thing for all the different problems that you're carrying with yourself. This works for absolutely everything. And please, don't have a doubt. It will transform your life. It's transformed mine. It's the best thing I have ever done.
Gosh, I'm actually speechless for once. Like, you know, I was going to ask you any questions.
It's true. It's true. You know, it's so true. I do not overeat. I don't even think about it. After all that I had given up, I just thought that was part of me.
And
that's
now, so wonderful to hear.
Frankly, I don't care what I look like. I'm actually quite really comfortable in my own skin, so it doesn't matter. But I know I'm losing weight because I'm just not doing that anymore. You know.
Can you tell me, because I know Janie asked this question and I didn't actually ask the other two, and I don't know if you want to put it in the chat box, the other Lou and Habir, but Janie asked, like, what was your biggest insight? And I think that's quite a nice time to bring that in for you, because there seems to be so much that's melted away. I wonder if you can, or can you remember, like, the one thing that just shifted it for you?
I think the biggest thing is for me, because of the job that I used to have. I knew quite a lot about the neuroscience which you teach, which goes along with this. Yeah. So that really resonated with me. And it doesn't matter if you don't have the kind of background that I had, because I mean, Charli puts it very clearly and very simply. It's just that when she said it, I thought, oh, right. And it's two little voices. That was the biggest thing. Two little voices having a conversation in your head. And my two little voices went, oh, you've had a really awful day. Get in the car, get yourself down to Sainsbury's. You need ice cream. And on the way down, I'd be thinking, yeah, this will make you feel better. You'll feel better when you've had this. You'll feel so much better. But what I didn't notice very much was another little voice. And that little voice was very quietly saying to me, you don't need to be eating that. You don't want, you know it's bad for you. You know it's bad for your health. You know it's bad for your heart. It's bad for your blood pressure. Your stomach is going to feel. Don't do it. But it's such a gentle little voice that you don't hear it. No. And then I did hear it. As soon as that was described to me, I thought, oh, I have heard that voice, but I've dismissed it. And then one day, we'd been doing the program for a few weeks. I think we're probably about halfway through, and I was having a bad day, and I was back in my old house, and I love egg mayonnaise, and I'd made some egg mayonnaise sandwich filler, homemade. Oh, I love it. Big bowl of it in the fridge, big bowl. I mean, you know, loads of eggs in there, loads of mayonnaise. Oh, gorgeous. And I thought, you're having a really crap day. You deserve to go and stuff yourself with all that egg mayonnaise. And I went to the fridge, opened it, got out the bowl, and I heard my little voice go, you don't need, do you? And I thought, no, actually, I don't. Because that's not what's making me happy. That's not what makes me feel better. That's not it. It's not the food. I do it. I make myself feel better,
Yes.
not the food. And so I thought, okay, just have a spoonful. And I got a teaspoon, had a taste, put it back in the fridge. And I have not even thought about food ever since. Just don't. I don't even think about it. It's gone. It's gone. It's like a miracle.
That's so wonderful, and I could listen to you all night, but I want to bring the other ladies on, so I hope you don't mind. But that was absolutely wonderful. What I might do is interview you all separately anyway. I think that's what I might do. You're all brilliant. Adria, thank you, Jill. It's been fantastic to hear that experience, and I really appreciate you sharing it. Thank you so much. Adriana, you are next. Hello.
Hi everybody, I'm Adriana, and I've been working with Charli for the past 5-6 months, and I've actually signed up to work one-to-one with Charli at the beginning of the lockdown. So my life previously, so I have been struggling for the past, since 2010, I've been struggling with depression, and then postnasal depression, and then severe anxiety, and then I called it like mental health breakdown, but burnout, however you call it, in 2018, and kind of where I really kind of went into kind of complete, what would be the word? I literally just felt like I had no emotions, I had no thoughts. So just basically sailing through life, kind of just surviving. I couldn't work. I was literally working 4 hours a week. And then basically Charli contacted me because we know each other for for 10 years. So she basically just messaged me, and so then we started chatting. I did need a few sessions like to talk to Charli to actually you know, when you asked the other ladies, did you struggle to sign up? And because it was a thing for me, it was kind of financial, because I was working like 4 hours a week, and but I don't know, I had some feeling, you know, like when you just have that feeling, it was, I need to try it. And I literally just gave my money that I've earned to Charli at the beginning of the lockdown, which obviously all my work kind of like stopped, but I was kind of just carried on working some, let's say, online stuff where I did have some money. And I literally just gave that money to Charli. And obviously through one-to-one, I've got to Freedom Program, and I definitely can say that those two things worked really well, because obviously me and Charli were talking once a week, but then kind of with the program I could turn towards the content, the videos where I could listen, and I can kind of, because obviously I feel like when you're having one-to-one session, you just say things, you know, it's coming from me, but from those videos I could just literally listen. Obviously I was like listening normally when I was walking, and for me the biggest insight was, I mean, I was having some counseling sessions before because of my struggles, and the counselor did say to me that I probably had PTSD because I was a child of a war from Croatia, and I had very difficult childhood. And so I can say that, you know, what other ladies said, I really had loads and loads of heavy thinking. Oh no, I hate this.
Just breathe. It's okay. Just breathe.
I always cry. So annoying.
It's okay. We all do.
And the funny thing was, I really lived my life with like just reminding the past. Although I kind of like, I always thought that I'm a fighter, and you know, the kind of nothing will break me, nothing will bring me down. but I always felt really that heaviness of my thinking, you know, childhood, and always kind of going towards things to try to see where did I get broken along the way, or is, you know, is that kind of like my dad, is it kind of my upbringing, is it a war, is it, you know, all sorts of things. And I really thought that I'm never going to get better. And I obviously had that issue after my breakdown that I couldn't work. So I was really suffering with overwhelm. It basically, I would say I was crippled with overwhelm. I couldn't do anything that I felt I was meant to do. I've got my qualifications, I've got experience, I've got, I felt like I just had something that I could actually do well in life, but I was always returning back to that point that I felt, you know, I was going one step forward, 5 back. And when I started working with Charli, what was just so lovely to know that I didn't have to, and also that's the thing, is like what I really loved working with Charli, that she didn't go dig in my past and try to find where is the fault in my life. She just explained to me that I'm okay, and that kind of whatever happened in the past, kind of, let's say with my dad and my life experiences, it was because their own thinking and their own experiences. And to me, that was just so liberating. And as everybody said, I do truly feel free, because I no longer really have that burden of my past. I am very hopeful about my future, and it's not kind of that I have confidence. And also this is the things that I kind of realized. So I'm now back home in Croatia with, you know, my parents, and Charli said to me, let's see how this experience is going to go, because I didn't see them for a year and a half. And I kind of, I constantly had that feeling, I wish, you know, like kind of that the time to pass, or I wish, I can't wait to go back home to England and to get into my own routine, because my mum cooks donuts every single day. And I was like, oh, I just need, and then I just stopped myself, and I just said to myself, no, enjoy this now. And that those 7 days, I'm here 2 weeks, and I'm here for a week, and I have another week. And I just thought, this week will be gone, and I'll regret that I didn't enjoy this week. And I kind of really, I pause myself very often. I mean, it's most of you who have done with Charli, you will just have that Charli's voice that tells you, just stop, just let go. And it really helps, because it's, I feel like, yeah, for me, because I still get, you know, I've had that problem with my work. I just get into kind of rush. I get like, I need to get things done. I need to do everything. And then Charli say, that's a sign that I am overthinking, and that kind of, that my wisdom and intuition don't have room to do the job, because I'm just so much thinking. And so, yeah, I started working with Charli. I started to meditate. I started to breathe. And yeah, it's honestly, well, for me, it's, yeah, I started working actually with Charli, and I am working now a lot, but it's kind of, I can find a joy. And yeah, so it has transformed my life, because I definitely couldn't overcome my overthinking, crippling anxiety. And yeah, if I didn't start working with Charli, I just wouldn't. So yeah, anybody doubts, you have nothing to doubt. Absolutely nothing. Yeah, no tears.
Because I'm not even asking any questions anymore, am I? Everyone's telling me what I want to ask. So I'm like, I'll just sit here, and then this is great. That's incredibly powerful. They all have been. Yeah, I don't have any. If anyone's got any questions for any of the ladies, if you want to ask them, please do ask in the chat. But that's so powerful to hear that you I think the biggest thing I'm taking away from what you're saying there is that you have gone home, and where before you'd be, I can't wait for this to be over, I can't wait. So you're constantly kind of thinking about the future, wanting it to be over, rushing it through, getting in your head, getting stressed. It feels like you're like, no, let's just enjoy this moment and not rushing time. Yeah. And that feels like it's lighter for you.
Yeah, I definitely can see, that thing, the power of now. I can now feel it. And because I can do it, I do get caught into, the habits. That was the thing, is like what Charli does one module, that it's to understand how thoughts are created. That is amazing. It's because it's not anymore, or I'm having those really negative thoughts. And I can say that I spent my life being very self-destructive internally. And I couldn't understand why. And with that, knowing how the thoughts are created, it's almost kind of takes the pressure off, and you just understand how the brain works. And so it's not anymore you to blame, and you just understand it's just the brain's job, and how we respond and how we create experiences is really from our understanding. And Charli, you honestly, you are incredible, and that program, it will transform women or people's lives. So yeah, I'm so happy to be a part of it.
I'm happy that you're a part of it. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your experience from Croatia, and all of you ladies who because I had to cancel last night and bring it in tonight. And so last but not least, we have the lovely Liz.
Hello. Hi. How are you doing?
How are you? I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
You look lovely.
Thank you.
So it'd be lovely to hear from. Sorry, what would you say?
Post lockdown, job interview. Yeah. Can't look like a wild woman anymore.
So tell us what life was like before the Freedom Programme for you.
I would say that I'd probably, for about 3 years, probably before finding yourself online, Charli, been looking for answers, but answers to something that I'd been carrying around my whole life, if you like, and one of the first interviews that I saw online that got us connected was, I can't even remember who the person was now, but in the interview they were talking about you are not your story. And that comment really resonated to me, because I felt like the relationship I had with my mum, that not that I had a bad childhood, but I kind of lived for my sisters were a lot older than me, so I lived for them coming home, and there was a lot of pressure to be successful, and there was a lot of pressure going on all the time. But the main one was the relationship with my mum, and before I even did my GCSEs, I was learning to drive and leaving home. There was never mind A levels or going to uni. Leaving home was the ambition. That was it, really. And it wasn't that it was dramatic, but it was a story that I held on to my whole life. And I now understand that it created a feeling of a lack of self-worth for me. But it probably took most of my life to realise that's what it was, because that's how I grew up. That was normal, and my mum wasn't I say a mummy mum, but she wasn't attached to her feelings. And if you had a headache, you didn't get a hug, you were told to go to bed. If you got out of bed, you can go to school. And it was all very practical. And for me, that wasn't what I needed from a mother. So there was a lot of things that I was carrying for a long time. And then I probably, you know, some of the other ladies have said, I've kind of always thought I was a fighter. You know, I remember one day somebody told me I was a coper, and I was mortified. I was like, well, I don't want to cope, I want to live, you know, and that's why I fight and, you know, have this kind of drive, because I'm going to be more, and I'm going to be happy. But over the last few years, I think work has become more stressful, and you know, it was getting bigger and bigger. That luggage that I'd been carrying around since I was a kid wasn't going away. And you know, I'd also done every diet under the sun and yo-yoed with my diet, with my weight all my life. And I'd got to the point that I think the first conversation I had with Charli was, I just want to be happier, you know, because it felt like this is how life was. So I didn't know what I needed to get rid of, but I knew I needed to be happier than this. It can't be this much hard work. Life can't be this hard, surely, you know. And I think that's where I was. And I think deciding to join the freedom course, I wanted to do it, but I'd taken redundancy, so I was out of work, so I didn't have I didn't have spare cash, so I nearly didn't do it, but I did, and I have to say it is the best thing that ever happened. So I'm now 4 stone lighter than I was when I started the freedom course. I also don't think about food anymore. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but I think my biggest insight was feeling your feelings. And I remember the day that I was walking around the wood and I text Charli saying, I just understand what that comment means about, I can't remember the beginning of it now, but if the one thing all human beings did was not be afraid of their experience. So all of a sudden I had this thought that was like, that means your internal experience, not what you're experiencing in life every day that goes past the road or you talk to you. It's your internal experience. And I remember texting in the wood going, oh my God, I've just realised this is. And I think it was at that point, and, you know, because we've all heard, you know, all the kind of, you know, it comes from within and all the rest of it, but it just clicked. And also this kind of feeling your feelings. Now, I'd heard that before as well, but the minute in this program, you learn how your experience is built up from the inside out, and then things start piecing together. So feeling your feelings, well, you can do that if you realize it's coming from the inside and you know how it works out, and it all starts joining up. And I think that's the freedom. It makes you realize that actually you are in control of your life. It isn't what's happened to you in the past, or how you were brought up, or how anybody thinks of you, because I was definitely somebody who looked on the outside for acceptance, because I didn't accept myself, you know. But letting go of that story and realizing, yeah, I do like myself, I do. And you know, that's a good thing. And that's what this course does. It gives you a completely different way, for me anyway, at looking at life, because you're not looking at the past and what's happened to you and that's how you are today. You know, 5 minutes ago is the past. Now's now. You know, and you can change anything in a moment. And that's what you learn on this course. But giving yourself the confidence. I've yo-yoed, I'm 47 now. I've yo-yoed since I was 18. I joined Weight Watchers when I was 18 for the first time. God knows how many times I did after that. But now I've lost 4 stone without doing any diet. With, you know, just getting up every morning and actually accepting me as me. And stupid things like I had 3 champagne bottles on the top of my cupboard, and they've been there for years. So when I bought my first house, or you know, big celebrations, and people had written on the labels, etc., they went in the bin this week. Now you might think that's mad, but it's not, because what it's telling me is I'm letting go, you know. So every week or every month, you know, it's a continuous journey. But what this course does is gives you the foundations, and the solid foundations. You're not going to yo-yo, you know, because you'll realize, like the other ladies have said, you might have a bad day. You know, I worked the whole of August for a job. I mean, literally, I had so many interviews and tests and a presentation, and had to go to Edinburgh and had a panel, and I had to wait a whole week after the interview to find out whether I'd got the job, and I didn't get the job. Didn't go and buy a bottle of wine, a packet of crisps and a tub of ice cream though. So I didn't get the job, but life didn't end, and I didn't connect it to my self-worth. But don't get me wrong, I'm sitting here going, shit, I've got to go and start all over again because I haven't got another job opportunity on the pipeline. But that's just life. We all know that. We all know life goes up and down. But I'm not connecting. And the other thing was, when I went for the interview in Edinburgh, I'd had a 2-piece presentation to present that day to a panel of 3 people. I had and the night before they told me I had an on-the-spot test. Well, it's taken me all week to get this presentation, and I'm happy with it. And I'd done the test, which I knew I was going to get feedback from. So I was going to be in the spotlight, you know. So the night before, when he rings and says, oh, they're going to do an on-the-spot test for you. And I was like, are you kidding me? I've done 2 hours of Zoom interviews, a whole week of this presentation and tests, which don't talk to me about tests. I was like, are they trying to kill me? But do you know what? I think because you can't control that, then you stop and you go, and I do put it down to the learnings in this course. I'm happy with my presentation. I know I can present this, and I'm just going to go up and do me and be me. And I slept well that night, and I got up and got on an 8 o'clock train and went to Edinburgh. And I thoroughly enjoyed my over 2.5 hours in front of this panel. And I did the on-the-spot test. Now, I didn't get the job, but my feedback to that recruiter was not that it was very pressurized and an intense situation, which is what the other feedback was, because I was myself. And I think it's not about getting the job, it's about learning to be you and enjoying it and being happy and in the moment and not worrying. You know, I've missed the 3 o'clock train, had to go at 4 o'clock. It's all right, doesn't matter, because it went on so long. Started at 12. Anyway, I'm waffling now. All I can say is it will be life changing, and I hesitated, but don't hesitate. And you really will. Your group in your course will become sisters. We won't talk about how emotional our last one was. Our last coaching was. Everybody was crying.
Oh gosh, yeah, that last session. So some of the ladies are joining the next. So some of the ladies who've completed the program are joining the group calls for the next one because they want to. There's an extra cost for those ones. So some of these ladies will be in the next group calls as well because they love them so much. And I just wanted to say that the hesitation. So you said I hesitated a bit. Can you remember like what your thinking was at the time around your decision to join or not to join? Can you remember the sort of push-pull?
I think, well, I'd done the Fly course that you'd put out a couple of months earlier and really enjoyed that. And that kind of, you know, started my journey. And I suppose there was a little bit of me going, well, I've got it now, I get it, you know, do I need to spend more money and kind of do another course? I've got it now, you know, there's other books and there's, you know, do I need to do it? But I think, you know, deep down inside, I knew that I did need to do it. I'd found something here and I needed to continue that journey. And I've got 2 sisters that lent me the money if it meant the world fell apart. So I did it.
We're so pleased you did, Liz, because yeah, it's been wonderful to see the transformation in all of you who've shared. It's just been a real honor. And the group calls, you know, these women, I just feel blessed and lucky to have you all in my life, and for you all to share, and for you all to be so supportive. And those of you that are here on the Zoom can see the support in the chat just from this little webinar that we're doing. And Lorraine has said, even though she was on the first intake, she's finding these ladies' speeches inspirational. It just goes to show how good the program is. So thank you, Lorraine. And in answer to your question, Louise, the circle group, the difference is, I think a lot of the ladies, there's kind of a mix of 50-50. So 50% of the ladies are already in the circle group. And that's just like, you know, you've got the monthly guest presenters, and we do these group calls twice a month, and the support is there. The difference with the Freedom Program is that it's intense. There's twice a week group calls, and it's the foundation of everything that I teach in video format. It's held on a membership site, so you can listen as a podcast whilst you're driving or walking, rather than having to go into Facebook, which is where the circle group is. So some of the ladies are already in there and came in and have gone, you know, and are still in there. And some of the ladies have done the Freedom Program and then continue the conversation in the group calls in the circle group. So it's, I don't know, I'm biased about all of it. So because the ladies in the groups are fantastic, phenomenal, wonderful, inspirational. But the Freedom Program is just your intense foundation for you to really shift your belief system that might be holding you back, that might be keeping you in anxiety, that might be keeping you in habits which you may or may not get that kind of intensity from the circle. Louise, how many podcasts are there? There's no homework. So please take the word homework out of your vocabulary. So the question, just for anyone who's watching, how many podcast videos are there to listen to per week? Is there lots of homework? There's no homework. There's absolutely no pressure to do anything. Lorraine, who, I don't know if you can see the screen, she's one of our lovely ladies on the screen. She did my first intake. Have you completed the modules yet, Lorraine? Is there any pressure to complete the modules? No. So there's no homework. So every week you might get 2 or 3 videos towards the end, the week 7. And do you want to come on, Lorraine? Yeah. So if you unmute yourself, my love.
What I would just say to the ladies who are thinking about it is, yes, I still haven't finished it. It's not that I don't intend to, I just don't make time for myself as much as I should. But if you do commit to it, I fully believe that you will get as much out of it as the ladies who have spoken tonight. Because you do get an insight into so much of your own thinking and what you get caught up in. And even though I haven't finished the course, I'm still that much further down the road than I was before. I do let my thoughts go a lot more easily. I don't dwell on them and keep them churning over and over. It somehow does release that clog that's inside you, and you just let them go. And I can't describe it as well as the other ladies have. That's why I didn't come on really.
You're describing it beautifully, Lorraine.
But if you commit to it, you will find your wisdom, you will find a release. And I was talking at work the other day, and the things that I cope with at work throughout this horrible year that we've all had, I wouldn't have been able to do before. And my manager, you know, has said that. And I openly say to her that I've had coaching and things, and you know, she says, yes, you are different to how you used to be. So I still have days where I'm not great. Everybody does. They do not go on for so long, and the bad thoughts do not go on for so long. You will find release from that.
Thank you, Lorraine. Well done for coming on, being brave. Woohoo! That's great. And just to quickly finish what I was saying, there is just 2 or 3 videos per week, 15 to 20 minutes, I think 25 minutes max, I'm not sure. You can listen to it as podcasts. You get 1 module release per week. As we go on, I start adding in the guest interviews that we've had over the last year in the circle group, but to try not to put pressure on, not that you have to do, not for homework, just to kind of aid the learning. And we have the group calls twice a week, and we have the live guest interviews. So it's another coach like myself who will coach the group. So you get expert coaching from me and other amazing coaches. So take any pressure off that you have to do anything. You have lifetime access to the course, to the program, and I'm here and the ladies are here, and we've all got everyone's back. I don't know if I can add anything else. If anyone else wants to add anything else, then maybe we'll do another Q&A. Go on, Michelle. If you want to unmute yourself, my love, then I think that's what you have to do. Are you on your phone? That's it.
Oh, I think I've done it. I done it.
You have done it, love.
Oh, hello, everybody. Yeah, I just wanted to ask, so the circle group is, when you've done the freedom program, can you carry on in the circle group? Do you have to pay for the circle group, or after
you do?
you've done the
you don't have
program?
Yeah. So the circle
Right.
group is $24.99 per month. You don't have to join it.
Yeah.
Liz hasn't joined it, and Liz is still here. Some of the ladies do, some of the ladies don't. It's not what's the word, a must. I don't force anyone, but you'll stay in the freedom Facebook group if you didn't want to carry on. There's no pressure to do anything.
Oh, I didn't know. You know, I said to you earlier, I'm a bit forgetful. It takes a few times for things to go in. So I didn't know.
Well, you'll have lifetime access to the modules, and you can dip in and dip out as you see fit. But I would encourage you, like the other ladies have said, to come to the group calls, get the support from all the women. Don't worry about the circle group for now. Like, let's take that off the table, because we're here to talk about the freedom program, and I don't want anyone to get confused with the two. Because
I get
when
confused
it's the right time. Yeah, don't worry, it's only because Louise asked the question.
I think it's just names, and I just get confused with them all, so I'm always double checking which one's the Facebook one, which one's the circle one, and now the freedom one. So I think now I know.
I was saying to someone else, I've got too many groups, haven't I? People will be sick of my face, like, which bloody
I think
group?
now I know which one's which.
Can I just add as well, when you add the freedom group, so Charli will be sending you the links by email, so you can save. I can't remember how you do it, Charli. Remember you showed us how you can save it on your iPhone.
Phone.
And so you can
it's
actually
off
go
of
back.
Facebook. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's a great point. So the
Oh,
Freedom Program is on a membership portal. So
yeah.
so it's not on, there is a Facebook group, but purely for communication and support. But the modules are delivered via a membership portal, which you
Right,
can
yeah.
save onto your phone. So Habib's right. There's a little, yeah. So it's trying to make it as accessible for people as I can without getting caught up in Facebook.
Yeah, yeah.
Does that make sense? It is.
Yeah, well, it's
It
just,
is like
I've just been
an app.
trying
Let
to
me show
go
you.
on.
Hang on. Go on, Michelle. Sorry.
No, I've been trying not to go on Facebook as much. I just find it a bit depressing sometimes. So I've been trying not to go on Facebook as much. So now you've said that you don't have to go on it to go for this group. That's another thing that I now know.
No, definitely. You don't have to go onto the Facebook page. The only thing is sometimes for the group calls, the links are sometimes in the Facebook page. So you just need to get the meeting ID from there and just put it in your Zoom.
Right.
But that's only, I mean, Charlie will tell you when those group calls are going to be, because they're always on a Monday night and a Friday in the morning. So if you remember the times,
Right.
you'll just know that that's when you have to pop in just to get those meeting codes, or just to click on the link to get into the group. But yeah, it's
Right.
you don't need to
Thank you.
go into the Facebook group, because I was like that at the beginning as well. It was too much to get to kind of deal with Facebook.
Yeah. Thank you.
Ladies, I'm going to have to draw this to a close, but we can always do another Q&A if you're up for it. But thank you to all of you who came on and shared, to all of you who asked questions. I really appreciate your time, your incredible wisdom and sharing. And I'm really deeply honoured to walk by all of you. The next intake, Louise, starts on the 7th of September. And that'll be the last one this year. And I'm so excited. Anyway, I'm always very excited. So have a wonderful, wonderful evening, ladies. And hopefully I'll see you all very soon in one form or another. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care. Lots of love.
Bye.
Thanks, Jamie.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.